The global economy is still grappling with the aftershocks of a trade war initiated by former US President Donald Trump. One of the industries caught in the crossfire? The automotive sector. In particular, German automakers like Volkswagen find themselves navigating a complex web of tariffs, shifting markets, and economic uncertainty. Trump's trade war, launched with the stated aim of protecting American jobs, saw the imposition of hefty tariffs on goods imported from various countries. Among those targeted were Canada and Mexico, key players in the highly integrated North American auto industry. This decision to impose tariffs, particularly the 25% levy on goods from Canada and Mexico, sent shockwaves through the global automotive market. German automakers, heavily invested in North American production, found themselves in a precarious position. Their carefully calibrated supply chains were disrupted, and the cost of doing business across borders skyrocketed. Volkswagen, the German automotive giant, stands as a prime example of the challenges facing European automakers in the wake of Trump's trade war. With a significant manufacturing footprint in Mexico, Volkswagen relies heavily on this North American hub to supply vehicles to the crucial US market. In fact, a staggering 44% of Volkswagen cars sold in the US in the previous year were produced in Mexico. This reliance on Mexican manufacturing made Volkswagen particularly vulnerable to the tariffs imposed by the Trump administration. The company's popular Tiguan SUV, a top seller in the US market, is produced at a plant in Mexico. Adding to the company's woes, Volkswagen subsidiary Audi also utilizes its Mexican facilities to manufacture its Q5 SUV, a global top seller, for all markets outside of China. The tariffs threaten to disrupt the production and distribution of this key model, impacting Volkswagen's bottom line. The 25% tariff on goods imported from Mexico, a cornerstone of Trump's trade policies, had a profound impact on the auto industry. This policy aimed to bring manufacturing jobs back to the US, but it also had unintended consequences that rippled through the economy. Car prices in the US were projected to rise, potentially dampening consumer demand in a market already grappling with economic anxieties. Higher prices meant that consumers would have to think twice before making a purchase, affecting overall sales. Market analysts predicted a decline in car sales as consumers grappled with higher price tags. The auto industry, already facing challenges, now had to deal with the added pressure of tariffs. This decrease in demand threatened to ripple through the supply chain, impacting not only automakers, but also parts suppliers and dealerships. The interconnected nature of the industry meant that a hit to one segment could affect many others. The economic consequences of the tariffs extended far beyond the factory floor. Workers faced potential layoffs, and companies had to rethink their strategies to cope with the new economic landscape. Fears of a Trump recession triggered by the former president's trade policies, began to circulate among economists and market observers. The uncertainty created by these policies added to the market's volatility. The Atlanta Fed's GDP forecasting model, a closely watched economic indicator, painted a stark picture. Analysts and policymakers closely monitored these predictions to gauge the potential impact on the broader economy. Within a week, the model's prediction for U.S. economic growth plummeted from a healthy 2.3% to a concerning contraction of 2.8%. This dramatic shift underscored the far-reaching effects of the tariffs and the fragile state of the economy. As if navigating the treacherous waters of the US-Mexico trade war wasn't enough, German automakers also faced headwinds in another crucial market: China. The world's largest auto market, China had long been a source of growth for companies like Volkswagen. However, by 2025, the Chinese auto market was showing signs of slowing down. Economic growth had moderated, and competition within the Chinese market had intensified. Local Chinese automakers were gaining ground, challenging the dominance of established foreign brands. This slowdown in the Chinese market presented yet another challenge for German automakers already grappling with the fallout from Trump's trade war. The combined pressures of tariffs, shifting market dynamics, and economic uncertainty created a perfect storm for the automotive industry. Recognizing the challenges faced by its automotive industry, the European Union attempted to provide some relief. The European Commission announced a degree of leniency on emission targets for European automakers. This move was aimed at easing the financial burden on companies already grappling with the costs associated with meeting stringent environmental regulations. In another strategic move, the EU updated its trade agreement with Mexico. This updated agreement, which came into effect in January of the previous year, sought to offer more favorable export rates for European car manufacturers. The goal was to mitigate the impact of the US tariffs and maintain the competitiveness of European cars in the Mexican market. Section 6. Expert Opinions. Navigating the Trade War Labyrinth. Industry experts weighed in on the complexities of the situation, offering insights into the challenges and potential consequences of the trade war for German automakers. The trade war has created a ripple effect, impacting not just the automotive sector, but also the broader economic landscape. Experts are particularly concerned about the long-term sustainability of current business models. Matthias Schmidt, a respected European auto analyst, expressed concerns about the viability of continued investments in Mexican production plants. He highlighted the financial risks involved and the potential for increased operational costs. Schmidt questioned whether it made economic sense for German automakers to maintain a significant manufacturing presence in Mexico, given the tariffs and the uncertainty surrounding US trade policy. He pointed out that the fluctuating trade policies could make long-term planning extremely difficult for these companies. He suggested that companies might be forced to reconsider their global production strategies, potentially shifting manufacturing to other regions to avoid the tariffs. This could lead to a significant restructuring of the global automotive supply chain. Thomas Hutschenreuter, a prominent economist, warned of the potential for job losses not only in Mexico but also in Germany and other European countries. He emphasized that the economic repercussions could be far-reaching, affecting various sectors beyond automotive. He argued that decreased demand for German cars produced in Mexico, due to the tariffs, could lead to production cuts and ultimately job losses. The cascading effect of these job losses could further strain the economies of the affected countries, making recovery even more challenging. Section 7. The looming Trump session, economic dominoes fall. The specter of a Trump session loomed large over the global economy. Economists and market watchers pointed to the potential for a recession triggered by the former president's protectionist trade policies. The tariffs, they argued, were disrupting global supply chains, increasing prices for consumers, and dampening business investment. The Atlanta Fed's dramatic downward revision of its GDP growth forecast served as a stark warning. The model's shift from predicting 2.3% growth to a 2.8% contraction in just 1 week highlighted the speed and severity with which the trade war could impact the U.S. economy. The potential consequences of a Trump session were far-reaching. A recession in the U.S., the world's largest economy, would likely have ripple effects across the globe, impacting trade, investment, and economic growth in countries around the world. Section 8. A global trade conundrum, ripples beyond borders. The trade war initiated by the Trump administration had far-reaching consequences, extending beyond the borders of the United States. It wasn't just a bilateral issue. It became a global concern, affecting numerous countries and economies. The tariffs and the uncertainty they created sent shockwaves through the global trading system, impacting businesses and economies around the world. Stock markets reacted with volatility, and many industries faced significant disruptions. The trade war highlighted the interconnectedness of the global economy. No country operates in isolation, and the actions of one can have profound effects on others. In an increasingly globalized world, where goods, services, and capital flow freely across borders, actions taken by one country can have significant ripple effects on others. The flow of goods and services is a delicate balance that can be easily disrupted. The tariffs imposed by the United States, while intended to protect American jobs and industries, had the unintended consequence of disrupting global supply chains, increasing costs for businesses, and fueling economic uncertainty. Many companies had to rethink their strategies and supply chain logistics. The trade war served as a stark reminder of the importance of international cooperation and the need for a rules-based trading system. It emphasized the necessity for countries to work together to maintain economic stability. It underscored the potential for protectionist policies to backfire, harming not only the countries targeted but also the economies of those imposing the tariffs. The global economy is a complex web, and any disruption can have far-reaching consequences. Section 9. The road ahead. Uncertainty and adaptation in the auto industry. As 2025 unfolded, the future of the global automotive industry remained uncertain. The trade war initiated by the Trump administration had created a complex and challenging landscape for automakers, particularly those with significant manufacturing operations in North America. German automakers like Volkswagen faced a difficult road ahead. They had to navigate the ongoing uncertainty surrounding U.S. trade policy, adapt to shifting market dynamics in China, and contend with the economic fallout from the trade war. The challenges were significant, but so too were the opportunities. The trade war could be seen as a catalyst for change, forcing automakers to rethink their global production strategies, accelerate the development of electric and autonomous vehicles, and embrace innovation in order to remain competitive in a rapidly evolving industry.